Good evening, YouTube. Looks like I gotta make this a short one. I haven't deleted any of the previous videos I've posted this week. Oh, crap, there goes the lens again. You know, if I keep up this rate, I'm gonna have over 2,000 miles on this paycheck. Because I'm not going home this weekend. Well, I kind of sort of am. Because I'm going from, I'm going to pick up a load in Morris tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, maybe early evening, I'm not sure. Depends on how long it takes me to unload at the delivery I've got tomorrow, and whether or not I can get in early. It's a 12:30 appointment near Fort Wayne. So if they take the 2 hours they always schedule for, these live unloads, then it could be, 2 o'clock, 2:30, 12:30 to 2:30, yeah. If they take the 2 hours, it'll be 2:30. And then going from Fort Wayne to Morris is about 4 hours, so it could be, 6:30, 8:30. Could be mid to late evening by the time I get back to the house, but it's not exactly home time. I'm only going to spend the night there because I'll have a delivery in Fargo, North Dakota, Monday afternoon, 1600. So it's not exactly home time, and I won't be credited for it as home time, but I'll get to spend maybe a night, maybe a little longer than a night at home, and then go back out again. And 3, 5, 8, 9. I'm over 1,000 miles now, and the Fargo load is another 700. So if I can get something, between Monday and Wednesday, it'll put me, 300 miles or so. It'll put me over 1,000 miles, or 2,000 miles rather, for the week, which is a nice paycheck. Not that I'll be able to spend any of it, Bills, back bills, and further back bills, and bills I've been putting off, saying I'll pay you when I have the money, and it's not even touching the medical bills, and I don't even know what I wanted to talk about. I was talking to Linda about Robert Heinlein, his writing. The Grand Master is one of my favorite authors of all time. He writes in a style that I have never seen before or since. I mean, I've read a lot of books. A lot of books. Probably the closest to Heinlein's style that I've encountered is Roger Zelazny and his Princes of Amber series. Or Amber series, rather. However, where Heinlein takes a person who doesn't think he's exceptional and writes the story of his exceptional life, Zelazny's books, the Amberites all knew that they were exceptional. It'd take me an hour to even explain properly how these things work. Just say they're different worlds and different realities that it'd be really nice if they did exist, but they don't, so whatever. But yeah, Heinlein, the book I just read, Glory Road, not read, listened to on YouTube. Guy PFC Gordon, who's in the Vietnam War and finally gets discharged, took a machete to the face and got medical or something. I don't know why he got discharged, and he had played football and tried to avoid the draft, and then when his football scholarship dried up and You know, he called his draft board and said, okay, send me that letter. But he knew how to fence, and he had read, you know, authors that I've never read. He didn't think of himself as exceptional, but he was. And then he meets this person who promises him great adventure, you know, greater treasure, and even greater danger. And he, you know, follows her and falls in love with her, and it's an adventure that, you know, he ends up being a hero, and in this universe where he's in, heroes are, you know, valued and respected and treated like royalty. And then he realizes it was all a swindle, except the person who conned him into it actually was fond of him, not, you know, she wasn't a cold-hearted bitch or anything. See, it's very hard to describe, but it's so engrossing that once you start listening to these people's lives, you don't want to put it down. You listen to the whole story, and then you're like, well, what happens next? There's not a lot of what happens next. You don't get a lot. He didn't write any series. He didn't write, you know, multiple books with the same characters. There are a few, I'm not going to call them continuity continuances, but for example, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. There is a character, a minor character in that one, named Hazel, who ends up, you know, in The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, she's young, like 12, 13 or whatever. You know, when the revolution starts in 2076, because they want Free Luna not to be a penal colony of the, you know, Federated Nations of Earth anymore. Like I said, 2076. So, you know, kind of copying the American Revolution, but with different ideas. But anyways, the girl Hazel is a very minor character in The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Then there is a later book called The Rolling Stones, where Grandma Hazel Stone is the same person as, you know, the young 12, 13-year-old Hazel from the first book. But she's, again, a minor character. It's her grandsons who are the main characters. Well, the whole family, really, but mostly the grandsons. It's told from their point of view. And there are things like that. I mean, he doesn't throw out the entire universe he writes every time. Matter of fact, there's another book called Number of the Beast, where they develop a drive, a mechanism that turns a guy's personal air car into a dimension-hopping machine. They go to the, you know, Edgar Rice Burroughs moon, you know, Barsoom, the red planet, Mars, to us. But, you know, where Captain John Carter lives. If you've seen the movie John Carter, you'll understand. And they go to Oz, is it? Yeah, the world of the Wizard of Oz. And they go to, you know, other multiple worlds where they actually do go to the moon during the revolution to rescue a sentient computer that is believed to have died during the, you know, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. There are things like that scattered throughout his books. There are Martians and Venetians. Martians are these great, huge, three-legged, three-armed, three-eyed things, you know, built like a tripod, and their eyes are equally spaced around their head. Their arms and legs are, you know, equally spaced around their heads. The people from Venus are small amphibians who have a very matriarchal society. It's just... and and these things are fairly consistent. I mean, Red Planet, Podcane of Mars, Space Cadets, Stranger in a Strange Land. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. But these all have these Martians and, Venusians maybe? I don't know what a person from Venus would be called. But he keeps these things constant, but it's not always the same universe. He's just telling stories about these people who happen to be extraordinary. They don't think they are. They think they're just an average Joe, but they happen to be, through circumstance or talent or what have you, exceptional people. Or maybe they're not, and you just think they are because you're reading their version of what's happening. I don't know. I could ramble on about Heinlein for hours. I love the man's work. He was a brilliant writer who just, for me, and I don't know if anybody else is like this, but for me, once I start reading his work, I can't put it down. I read it and it just carries me through to the end. And I'm like, oh crap, well that book's over. Damn, now what? So if you get a chance, Starship Troopers is a really good book, and it's probably the easiest one to get into. If you saw the movie, forget it. Assume that the book has nothing to do with the movie, because that travesty is horrendous. The guy who wrote it had a political agenda. The guy who wrote the screenplay from it was very honest that he had a political agenda he was trying to achieve, and he changed the book to suit his political agenda that he was trying to push. And he ruined it. So the names are the same, some of them, but it's all fucked up. He fucked that up royally. But there you go. Heinlein, read him. Starship Troopers, Space Cadet, Moon is a Harsh Mistress, Stranger in a Strange Land. They're all good. Some of them are easier to digest, than others. But check it out. Read one. Let me know what you think. All right, YouTube. I love you. I'll talk to you later.